When I was a kid, I was raised to be nice and to smile when I'm uncomfortable and to not cause a scene or cause a commotion. And as a woman, I think like the most obvious form of oppression for me has been the level of just sexual harassment that I've experienced in my life. I have so many stories about being sexually harassed. It still happens, and it's really damaging to me. If all of the men who had harassed me had come up to me and apologized, an apology doesn't really quite cut it because they can never fully understand the position that they put me in. I felt uncomfortable and trapped, and there's a complete lack of trust. Essentially, everything that they do is going to have to regain this trust. Apologizing is a great step to recognizing your own behavior, but I'm not interested in an apology for my sake. I'm more interested in the fact that you never make a woman feel the way you made me feel.
All I know about Berkeley is it has a lot of students, so we'll see what happens. I'm quite nervous in many aspects, but I think it's important to actually be vulnerable, be exposed. And it's important for this conversation to happen.
When they ask questions, are they going to have a mic? Is somebody going to mic the questions?
Berkeley in itself is a very socially forward campus, so I feel like it'll have a very positive reaction. I know it'll be hard to watch, but I'm not really scared. I'm excited.
Thank you all for coming tonight. We're really excited to have you all here, and we're excited to screen this documentary. So please join me in welcoming the director, Benjamin Nolo, to the stage.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, Nathan. Thanks, Jasmine, so much for organizing this event. We're super excited to be here, and our hope in being here is to engage you guys in a conversation around the issues that the film addresses. So it's a challenging film to watch, but I encourage you to brave your way through it, because we do feel like the film makes some very important connections that are worth a robust conversation around. So thanks again, everyone, so much for being here. And without further ado, I present you with Liberated.
It never gets easier to watch the film. But I knew that I have to face this. I can't hide anymore. And just to be at the back there gives me a different perspective of how the film is being perceived and how people are taking it in.
I had seen Liberated a few times before, but when I finally saw it at Berkeley in that first tour setting, I was so upset watching Shay. I took it personally because I saw myself as all those girls. All we wanted was a moment to feel valued and to feel loved and to feel cared for. I mean, I always knew that hookup culture or engaging in hookup culture, I knew that the guy was just trying to get off. But For a few moments, I would have lied to myself that I was feeling secure or feeling loved. The action of him and his friends laughing about it after made me realize that not even for a second did I have that. He was actually laughing at them, at just how oblivious and how naive and gullible they were. And I felt like he was laughing at me. That made me so angry and at the same time so sad, because it wasn't even until now that I fully understood at 24 years old that I'm just being laughed at and used when I was 16, 17. And that fucking sucks. There have been so many experiences in my life with people like Shay. And I am so happy that he's no longer on such a destructive path, hurting so many people. I'm happy for that change.
I'd like to invite the panelists to come up. Benji, the director, come on up. Could we please have Kimmy and Shay, who you actually saw in the film, come on up? So there'll be an opportunity for you all to pose questions to the panelists. We can go ahead and have you pose the question on the mic, and then we can have the panelists respond.
So I appreciate this film, but speaking from personal experience in Berkeley, within the Greek system, it's a huge cesspool of power and privilege, and we can have conversations about these intangible social ideas and concepts that are really damaging to our community, but no one's going to do anything about them until they're really confronted with the brutality of this violence, right? And that's something that we're facing today, February 27th, now in our Greek community. And it's really great to have conversations about ideology and sociology behind all of this. And I applaud you for catalyzing those conversations. But what now? How do we address this brutality without having to be slapped in the face by it?
One thing is, I think that we have seen society change a lot, especially with, in order to keep hope, because it wasn't only just a few years ago where Super Bowl commercials were completely degrading to women. And this just shows the power of people and the power of consumers, that we are not buying it. We are not buying your sexual degradation of women. And it's a tired narrative, but so have hope and hold people responsible, hold schools responsible, because people have way more power than we think we do. We think we have none, but we have a lot of power when we all stand together and make small changes that grow into federal changes eventually, because we have the power as people to elect change and make change. We don't have to stand up for this.
Our hope, through a film like this is on one hand to elevate an understanding of the severity of the sexual violations that are taking place. And it's interesting, the timing of the Me Too movement and the Time's Up movement, because I feel like in some ways that's what has happened, is that these movements have created a greater sense of the severity of the sexual violation and the destruction that does to the human spirit and to one's sense of sexual serenity. And the widespread nature in which, women's sexuality is fractured by men is unacceptable. And our position is we are pro-men. That this isn't an anti-men message, but because we're pro-men, because we believe in men, and because the majority of men are good men, we want to call the minority of men that are the perpetrators higher. And that's why this conversation is so important. If we're going to eliminate the widespread nature of these types of sexual violations that are occurring. I mean, it's totally unacceptable that 1 in 4, 1 in 5 girls are sexually assaulted during their time in college.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to address something that you mentioned, where it's happening today, it's happening on this campus. It's like the ugly answer. It's like making sure that your leadership and you as a community are holding this accountable? Like, are the perpetrators, are they going to be like have their membership terminated from IFC? Are they going to be banned from every single like Panhellenic house and interfraternity council house? Like, what are the substantive actions being taken to make sure that there is punishment and then also response from the entire community?
How, as a man, can I be an ally to women as they go through this, and how can we decouple women's sexuality with their valuation in society, and what can we do as male allies to deal with that? How can we help with that?
I think it's really, really important for us to be self-reflective. I think that if we want to be, as men, honest and very like actual passionate, compassionate allies to people, we need to recognize that we have been complicit in the past, and we might have been the cause of somebody's pain in the past. And only then, like once we start recognizing that our actions may have had horrible repercussions on other people, we can be more honest about, well then how does that make me feel, and why do I not want that to be the case anymore? And how can I move forward to make sure that I will stand up for people, and I will make sure I respect other people?
I would just like to say something on that as well. And I want to just tie it back into that idea of hope. And like for me, hope is you guys. Like you guys are here. We're having this conversation. You guys are the leaders. That is the hope for me. Like I believe that it's important to get this message out there. And what can you guys do? You can help support this message, continue this questioning. This film does a great job at bringing the conversation and the message to the forefront. So let's keep the message going, keep the conversation rolling, share it through your Instagram, share it through your Facebook, hashtag Live Liberated, and let's make this movement happen together. Like let's create a movement, let's get all the voices heard and let's make a shift, let's change it.
Same sheets going on.
So we just finished the screening here at Berkeley University. Everyone loved the film. They were already all plugged into all of these issues that are happening in our world, and they're happening in their current communities.
These students were really excited and passionate about change that can be implemented right now. I understand they were going through some stuff on campus themselves. So I was very excited and fulfilled that they started asking questions.
For me, the questions, they're quite personal, and it touches deep into the story for me. So sometimes it can be quite emotional, but it was so amazing to see a group of people come together.
They're like ready to make a difference in this world. This definitely gave me hope for change.
I was surrounded by, the only best way to describe it would be a mob ready to rape. That was the environment that we filmed in. It was utter chaos.